I am your host, James Parker. If you're just joining us, we got a hot one here because local church, the Oaklawn United Methodist Church, just painted their front steps and decorated their doors in the colors of the pride flag. And if you go look at it, you'll see that it's more than just the pride flag. Like the six doors that go across the front, they have the classic Roy G. Biv configuration. Do y'all remember Roy G. Biv from physical science in 8th grade? Red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, violet. So they have that. But down the front steps, it's a pretty big staircase. And I would say, what is this, like maybe 20 steps or so? They do the pride flag again, and then they do the flag for the trans, and then they do the flag for the black and persons of color, black, indigenous, POCs, those. And then they have another one for whatever the next flag is, which I think is intersex, but I don't really know all my flags at this point. I've been trying to keep up with it, but between that and collecting as many Pokemon as I can, I kind of got behind. But the sound clip from Reverend Rachel Anderson just tells you all you need to know about what's going on in their mind.
Today we are painting our steps. This is an act of sacred resistance in the face of what's happening in our state and in our country. Particularly here in Dallas in the Gayborhood, what we're experiencing is the impending removal of our rainbow crosswalks.
How would you feel if that was your church? 800-288-9227. Let's go to Ron in Garland. You're first up on WBAP.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, Ron.
Now, this pastor, she's supposed to be the pastor of this church you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, you're not supposed to have women pastors.
Well, I think they're down with that, and they have been for, I think, 6 years already.
Well, when you read the Word of God, you go by the Word of God. This lady is what they call a heretic. That's exactly what she is. You don't go against the doctrine of the Bible, period. You know, and I went to a church years ago when I was a young child, and it's still there. And I think it was like 4, 5, 6 years ago, it split because of the same reason. Some wanted, now, back then we called them homosexuals. I don't know where this gay stuff comes from, but yeah, we call them homosexuals. But they split the whole church because of that. And they said, just because you want to do things like that doesn't make it right. If you're following the doctrine of the Word of God, then you're doing it right. I mean, now you can accept homosexuals, but they have to have repentance. It's not you come on in here and you just practice what you want.
Well, listen. Now, I agree with you in principle here, but why does the gay community and that level of sin get so much more scrutiny than, say, gamblers or people who get drunk all the time or people who have cheated on their wives? You know, we're not that exclusive when it comes to all sins. We've just really singled out this one as some sort of worse sin.
Right, but again, the Word of God says against homosexuality, lesbianism, abomination. It doesn't say that about all these other sins.
I got to correct you there. I don't think it says anything against lesbianism, and that's not me trying to be like sneaky or cute or I think that's hot. I mean, I do, but I don't think lesbians are mentioned in the Bible. Like,
let me put it to you. It says animal lust, so that's pretty close.
Well, that applies to myself and Miss Parker. Thank you very much. I didn't mean to bring her into. All right, Ron, I got to get to some other people. I like your call, though. I like this is the discussion I want to have. Mike in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP.
Hey, good afternoon. So as a member of the LGBTQ community and a Christian, I can say that flag crosswalk has never really impressed me at all. I don't care that they're taking it out. It really does not bother me or affect me in any way. But as far as the church, you know, at the end of the day, that pastor will stand in front of God and be judged. It's not our place to judge her.
See, I'm glad you called. How do you reconcile your homosexuality with your Christianity?
Because when you actually go back to the original text, the text doesn't say man shall not lay with man. It says man shall not lay with boy.
Ew.
It is a condemnation of pedophilia, not a condemnation of homosexuality.
So do you think homosexuality is a sin at all?
Depending on how you do it. If you are running around sleeping with everybody who is willing to sleep with you, then yeah, that goes against the adultery and
Yeah, but that's not homosexual specific. That would apply to heteros as well. So
right. No, because I don't see a differentiation in those two.
well, see, now I see it as a sin, but I see it as a sin like I see all other sins. You know, like if you've cheated on your wife, I don't think you should never go to church again. In fact, I think you need to get your butt in church. If you're a gambler or like I drink a lot. I'll get totally trashed every once in a while. Not as much as I used to because I have 4 kids and a job and all that. But you know, I've met the metric of drunkard before, and I'm glad I haven't been excluded from the mainstream of Christianity like gays have. I don't know. I don't understand the focus on this. I even think it's a sin. It just seems a little bit weird to me.
In the great part is we're entitled to our opinion, and I appreciate your opinion on the matter. Yeah, but we all come back to the phrases in the Bible that very clearly say that we all sin. So if you believe that homosexuality is a sin, I respect your opinion on that. I do sin. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. But, there are other sins that I do, and I have cheated on my wife. Not proud of that when I was married. But, at the end of the day, I think homosexuality
Hang on. Can you stick with me through the break?
Sure.
So you were gay and married?
Well, I'm bi, and I was married to 2 different
Okay,
women.
all right. I got to run. More calls coming up next. How you feel about the Methodist Church painting the pride flag on their front steps and their front doors. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Has the Methodist Church on Oak Lawn gone full pride? It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Yes, we know pride's a sin, Garrett. Thank you very much. And by the way, the way you spelled Gayborhood over here in the call screen over here, Garrett, because the Gayborhood, it's not a pejorative. It's just what that district's called. And we mean it as a term of endearment. But he spelled it Gaybourhood. And Garrett, I think that's the British spelling of Gayborhood, sir. This is the American spelling wouldn't have a U in it. Or is that the Canadian spelling? The both? Los Dos? Okay. It's the Canadian / British. That's the Queen's English, sir. Gayborhood is spelled without a U on the James Show. But, you know what? Some people are just joining us. Let me get you caught up. This is the Pastor Rachel.
Today we are painting our steps. This is an act of sacred resistance in the face of what's happening in our state and in our country. Particularly here in Dallas in the Gayborhood, what we're experiencing is the impending removal of our rainbow crosswalks.
Man, that's a priority in your church. Okay, and you don't have to call in and say, I can't believe they have a woman pastor. I know. We need to get past that, though, and just focus on one heresy at a time, if you don't mind. The emails and Facebook messages are already just flying in like a tornado. Chuck says, this gay crap hits kind of close. I know someone in that church denomination that was shipped off due to their orientation, and now they openly show they support queerness. That is very hypocritical. I do believe my mom and dad got married at that church. They are rolling in anger in their caskets. Okay. And then another one, this is Robert. The rainbow door on a church is very controversial. Rainbow in the Bible is a sign of God's promise to not wipe the earth again, though sometimes we deserve it. That's for another day. But in the Gayborhood, it could just mean a safe church going for gay people. Honestly, a church can do what they want. God will judge us when we arrive at the gates. Down here on earth, people will do what people do. Is it hurting anyone? No. If someone is offended by it, then don't attend that church. Why is living so hard? Well, I think most people agree with, hey, if that's the way they want to run their church, go ahead and let them. But we can also say that doesn't follow the Bible, and so they're kind of running into some level of hypocrisy, depending on your interpretation or translation. And also, like when you see churches doing this, and they go from 11 million adherents at the United Methodist Church to 5 million, you could at least look, whether you condemn them or not, just as an outside observer, say, well, that's not good for growth of the church. In fact, in this embracing that they've done in the last 6 years has cut their adherents by more than half. So whether you think it's the right thing or wrong thing, it has been bad for that church. And that's objective. 800-288-9227. Let's go to Michael in Garland. Hey, Michael, you're on WBAP.
Thank you. The woman that claims to be a pastor or minister of that church,
Reverend Rachel Anderson.
Right. She is a leader of the occult. She no longer has a church. She has an occult following.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right. You wait 22 minutes and that's it?
Well, they can put the flag up there if they want to. They can do whatever they want to, but they're going to have to answer for it one of these days. Sin is sin, and God said repent of your sins, and they're not repenting of their sin. They are welcoming it.
They're embracing it. They're waving it around on a flag. All right, that's much better. I knew you had more behind door number one there, Michael. Thank you very much for calling in and holding on. Let's go to David in Bedford. Hello, David. You're on WBAP. David, Bedford, go. David, anywhere? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. Go.
Very good. You know, the thing is, James, is God hates, and not the sinner, but he hates the proud sinner, the proud look. The word talks about that. And what the church is doing is helping people to be proud of their sin. If you're a bank robber, are you going to be proud that you're caught, and are you a proud thief, or are you a proud liar? You can't live these sins and get expect. Even a proud guy that chases every skirt in town, it's still sex outside of a marriage, and it's wrong. And if you do it and live a lifestyle of that, you're not going to get into heaven that way. The word says you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven by being a proud sinner. That's just the way it is. And the church is helping people live in their sin openly and proudly.
Well, I think gays can still get to heaven if you're a gay.
Absolutely, totally,
Okay.
totally. But you cannot live that sin. You cannot live openly in that sin. You may have a tendency to be a thief, a kleptomaniac, but do you have to act on that thief? No, you have to keep it under control. Some people don't have any problem. They don't steal at all. But some people have a tendency to steal and have to work on that. We all have temptations to work on, and unfortunately, for those who are in this trapped in this sin, the church, I feel, what they're trying to do is help people to live openly and proudly in their sin, and which is wrong.
Yeah, but it seems to be appealing to some people. However, that number, the longer they do it, the more their numbers seem to dwindle.
You can be gay all your life and have those tendencies and still be married to the opposite sex and have children and live a happy life, but you may have a tendency to be drawn into that direction just because of the fact that who we are.
I think you have to be at least bi to pull that off. Because look, I assume you like women. David, are you a straight fella?
Absolutely.
All right, now I like women exclusively here, and I can't imagine. What if we had to pretend to like a guy so we could get married, and we would just go through the motions there, but the whole time we really liked women. You just had to go through and do your duty as a gay fella in order to fulfill the norms of what your religion told you. Wouldn't that be awful?
Yeah, and it could be too, James, that the church is trying to do, because people used to do terrible things to gay folks. You know what I'm saying? People would just be mean, hateful, even worse than that. And to draw attention to that and say, hey, look, people are this way, and we as a church are going to embrace them as people and not drive them into obscurity and away from the limelight. But at the same time, there's a fine line between embracing people who are that way as opposed to embracing their sin and holding it up proudly.
All right, hey, great call. That's David in Bedford. We're getting a whole slew of opinions here on the United Methodist Church of Oak Lawn that in response to the Rainbow Crosswalk being taken away, that they have painted their front steps in the pride flag and their front doors, and their female pastors come out and openly accepted the pride flag, and that doesn't seem to sit well with a whole lot of people. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I mean, they have a right to do it. I don't think they've committed a crime. I just don't think that's necessarily the best example of Christianity we can see in North Texas, and I don't think it's going to be good for their church long term. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. How gay is too gay for your church? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and the discussion comes up because Oak Lawn United Methodist Church, in protest of the rainbow crosswalk that's to be removed from Oak Lawn and Cedar Springs there in the neighborhood here in Dallas, not too far from where I'm broadcasting right now, they've painted their front steps and decorated their front doors in the pride flag. So they have the LGBT flag across their doors and then through the steps, and they had some extra steps. So then they threw in the trans flag colors, you know, the baby blue, pink, white, pink, baby blue again. There's the part of the flag that's for Black, Indigenous, and people of colors, basically everybody but whites. And so they've gone full woke over there. And really the crux of this is the pastor, Rachel.
Today we are painting our steps. This is an act of sacred resistance in the face of what's happening in our state and in our country. Particularly here in Dallas in the neighborhood, what we're experiencing is the impending removal of our rainbow crosswalks.
You know, I find it off-putting, not because it's gay, but because they're celebrating a sin. And not only are they celebrating a sin, they're celebrating in a way that's also like doubles the sin up. It's not just because it's the, you know, sex outside of marriage kind of endorsement or the homosexual aspect of it, but you're doing the pride flag, pride, one of our 7 deadly sins. You know, what's next? The gluttony flag? What would the gluttony flag even be? Would that be like Golden Corral logo or something? I don't know. Shut up over there. Let's get back to the phones here. 800. Well, don't even bother. The phones are full. Brock in Burleson. Hey, Brock, you're on WBAP.
Hey there. Good afternoon. So I was born and raised in the Methodist Church, and about 10 years ago, I left because they were going down the pathway of wokeism. And this place in Dallas, they're really a liberal social club masquerading as a church, because if you're not scriptural, you're not a church.
Man, there was this dude that I was renting a house with in Dallas 20-something years ago, and his dad is a Unitarian. They go to a Unitarian church up in Plano, and I had never been to a Unitarian church. In fact, I didn't even know such thing existed. And I went, and I was like, what in the heck is this? Y'all just believe in everything? That doesn't make any, you can't believe in everything. Brock, that's like the people who say everyone's beautiful. Well, if everyone's beautiful, then nobody's beautiful. Beautiful means you look significantly better than the average person. So yeah, if you believe in everything, then you don't believe in anything. And so I don't know. I really don't know that much about what's different between Methodist and Baptist. Can you give me like a couple of bullet points there? Like y'all baptize babies, I think is the big difference. But what else do I need to know about this Methodist denomination?
Honestly, it's kind of subtle, but I mean, you know, Baptists will do full immersion baptism, whereas Methodists like to do what I call the sprinkle. They just kind of sprinkle your head, you know. And there's a few doctrinal differences, but for the most part, they all kind of fall under the general Protestant denominations.
I hear you. Well, thank you very much for helping out there. Appreciate it. That's Brock in Burleson. This is Coda in Denison. Hey, Coda, you're on WBAP.
First off, it's just cringy. It's cringy. Painting your doors with anything that is close to being political, but also controversial. Yeah, they shouldn't have any skin in that game.
Well, I also like to, let's throw this back in the other direction. Would it still be cringe if they said, come and take it, or they said, we believe in the Second Amendment, or they said some sort of political statement that you agree with? And I think it still would be cringy.
Yes, it would be very cringy.
That's the perfect word for it. I'm glad you called in. Thank you, Coda and Denison.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're not going to do this for 3 hours, are we? Hang on, I got let me squeeze in one more here, Garrett. Don't give me a dirty look. This is Ed in Abilene. You're on WBAP.
Hey, I don't really have a dog in that fight being out here in Abilene, but just for some context, we had 7 United Methodist churches. Now it's down to 2, but the people that are leaving aren't going non-church. They're going to independent or a global Methodist church, which is basically the same, only not woke.
You know what? If there's other people out there who are hearing this and you're thinking, well, maybe I'm looking for a new church home, don't go to another Methodist church. Why don't you go to, I don't know, say maybe a Baptist church? Huh?
Well,
I think that's baby Jesus' favorite church. Thank you very much.
The thing is, you say 11 million and now it's down to 5, but they didn't just evaporate. They're still church people.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're making people who were formerly Christians non-Christians, but for that denomination, that has not been real good for their numbers. All right, Seether and Daughtry are coming to the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory on November 11th with special guest POD. For more information and tickets, go to livenation.com, or you can listen to the morning show on WBAP tomorrow morning for your last chance to win tickets from them, and they're on until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right, coming up next on the James Show. I'm sorry, all you people on hold. I really love you for hanging out, but there's some other important things we gotta jump on. Like next, what's going on with the White House renovations? Are we really just destroying the White House because he's a tyrant and can do whatever he wants, or is it the most normal thing in the world? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. The uproar over Trump's White House renovations is silly, and we have the receipts. I'm James Parker on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, I know. Good to see you, too. Thank you for joining us. Now, you definitely heard about this, and a couple of things. I've been waiting to talk about this for a while. Not that I knew it would line up this beautifully, but it kind of did work out nice in the fact that so many of the original reporting, of the details in the original reports here, turned out to not be what I thought it was. And look, I'm just as guilty as so many other people. I go through and I read the headlines and I make assumptions based on the headlines. And then quite often when I go read the rest of the story, I find out that headline was wrong. So let's start with the idea that Trump does or does not have the power to do this unilaterally. I really got to tell you, I don't know the details on the process by which White House renovations are made. But when you dig into it, not only is it not crazy or weird or off the mark or indicative of some tyrant that we've never seen before. He's an authoritarian. This proves it. It's the most normal thing in the world. When you go try and look at like the history of White House renovations, it's something that almost every president has done something to the White House. And I'd say about 1 out of 3 or maybe 1 out of 4 presidents have done major construction projects. And when you go list out through, okay, well, when did this happen? Was it all a long time ago or was this all recent? Both in early American history, in the mid 1800s and the late 1800s. A whole lot was going down in the early 1900s and the middle of the century. And then there's been renovation. Obama did renovations, more expensive than what Trump's doing now. Now, some of this isn't like, hey, I want to make a ballroom like what Trump is doing. A lot of the renovations when I was digging around in the early 1900s were things like, hey, guess what? We now have electricity now, so we need to run electric lines all through. We need to wire this place up and put like plugs and outlets in this sucker. Because the White House is older than plugs. You understand? The White House is older than the electric company in D.C. And then it was, okay, well, we have phones now, so we have to put phone lines in. Okay, well, now we've got to replace some of the decaying wood in this staircase. And there always seemed to be some sort of excuse. And so like this pool that JFK used to swim in and cheat with Fiddle Faddle, these 2 secretaries that were college age, that one got covered up and is now the press room. And then there was the bowling alley that Nixon had put in the basement. And there's been changes that have happened on an almost constant level. So the idea that this is just coming out of left field, this is what a dictator does, absolutely insane. And the media is just off its rocker where their reflex is whatever Trump's doing, it's terrible, it's stupid, it's authoritarian, it's literally Hitler. And Carolyn Levitt was getting the business this morning from some people in the White House press corps. Half of the press corps seems to be sane these days, but they were just pointing out, like, isn't this crazy? Isn't this weird? Isn't this wildly authoritarian? Is the president claiming that he can just do whatever he wants and he could tear down whatever he wants whenever he wants? Because that's what a dictator would do. Calm down, lady.
There have been presidents who have completely torn down the executive mansion. If you look at what President Truman did, some of the photos of the construction project that took place in those years, I think sitting here today, we're all grateful for those efforts and the modifications that happened at that time.
Okay, now right here, she's going to pull up some papers and start flipping through it. You'll hear some weird noises and she's referencing something. You'll hear when she asks for the photos.
And again, in due time, the East Wing is going to be more beautiful and modern than ever before. And in addition, there will be a big, beautiful ballroom that can hold big parties and state visits for generations to come.
So it sounds like the answer is yes, he can tear down whatever he wants. And then secondly,
that's not what we're saying. That's a legal opinion that's been held for many years. And
interpreting it.
No, it's something that presidents have done for years and years. In fact, I have some photos here.
Did you hear the journalist, air quote journalist, try and reframe that? Oh, okay, so what you're saying is he really can just tear down anything once, whenever he wants. Dude, where was this level of skepticism when Obama did his White House renovations? Here, let's go back in time. You know I have the receipts. The Audiotron 3000 forgets nothing. We're going back to the year 2010 when Obama's doing some renovations. Now, Trump's are going to be $250 to $300 million. It's all privately raised. A lot of it's Trump's money. He got some other donors to pitch in. So not a cent of this is coming from the taxpayer. So it's costing us zero. So what it seems like is we're actually on the benevolence of a billionaire and some of his friends getting the gift of a renovation and a new ballroom to the White House. This should be celebrated, right? It's not. But when Obama did it with your money, listen to CNN. This is great.
Sounds like they're building another wing to the White House, but we appreciate you keeping your focus.
You can't even imagine, TJ. It's going to happen for the next 2 years. All of the banging, the jackhammering, the dust, the confusion, the noise of all places to do construction is happening right here, the front lawn of the White House.
It's a 4-year renovation project. Estimated cost, $376 million.
Oh, $376 million. And did you hear him? Hey, it's all happening right here on the front lawn. They're cheering it on. Did Obama ever get asked, or did Karine Jean-Pierre, or whoever was his spokesperson at the time, did they ever get asked? I guess Karine Jean-Pierre was Biden, but you know what I mean. Who would it have been then? Gibbs? Did they ask Robert Gibbs? Hey, so does Obama think that he could just tear down whatever he wants whenever he wants without any kind of approval from any other? Doesn't this prove that he's a tyrant? Does he think he can just tear down what? No, they were like, hey, check this out. Isn't this great? It's a 4-year project. It's going to cost $376 million of taxpayer money. This is great. Oh, man, it's a beautiful day. Check out all the progress that's being made. It's wonderful when our team does it. When the other team does it, worst thing in the world. What do you think about the White House renovations? Is this really a tyrant that's destroying the people's house, or is it the most normal thing in the world? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'll play Trump's comments on it from this morning on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Who's really worried about White House renovations? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. The criticism of the renovations being done at the White House are so shallow and so base that it's a great litmus test to expose people who really are trying to report the news and tell you the important things that you need to know in order to know what's going on in the world and make better decisions as a citizen of these United States, and the people who just hate Orange Man bad. That's it. If you're freaking out over this, really, if you're spending a whole lot of time trying to come up with reasons to be upset about this, that really says a lot about you, because we can go back just 2 presidents ago to Barack Obama and see what you same people said about those renovations. And if there wasn't any concern about the cost or the precedents or the history or the tyranny or the fact that he's doing this on his own, did he actually consult with other people? Can he just unilaterally do this? If you didn't say that during Obama, your opinion means nothing to me now. And I don't mean about this. I mean about anything going forward. Here's Donald Trump, who was asked about this. And this is him explaining and showing some of the pictures. And he has some plans and some charts and some blueprints. And this is where we get the $300 million number from. But this was...
there's a relative... Nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people.
Now, I know this isn't the most important thing in the world, and it's not really absolutely necessary for a proper functioning country. But when you do have dignitaries in and you can only hold 70 people and more than 70 people want to come, do you see what they do? They pitch tents. They put tents out on the lawn next to the existing ballroom, and a bunch of people have to eat outside. And, a lot of times that's not really great when it's the heat of summer or the freezing cold of winter, or if it's raining or snowing or super duper windy. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it's embarrassing, but it looks kind of chintzy because you can go to these other places who aren't nearly as wealthy as the United States, and they have these grand, magnificent ballrooms, and they can seat more than 70-something people. And so, again, I'm like a neither here nor there. I think this is such, I don't want to say it's a non-story, because once the hoopla has been made and the headlines have been written, if it's full of garbage, you need to at least shout it down. But think about the other things that were going on at the meeting where Donald Trump was, explaining that in the last couple of press availabilities. There have been some super important issues going on. Number one, we had Donald Trump saying that he would be willing to give up some territory in Ukraine to Russia for peace. Now, this is a huge story. Listen to this, because this is a couple of things. Number one, Donald Trump's admitting that he would be willing to give up some of Ukraine in order to get a peace deal with Russia. You would think they'd be jumping all over that. See, we told you he was Putin's puppet. We told you he was going to sell out Ukraine. We told you that the line to cross is Ukraine should lose no territory, and here's Donald Trump is selling them out. They actually have something good, something political, something geopolitical, something historic to criticize them on. But instead of jumping on that, they're jumping on the ballroom.
Did you get any sense from Putin that he would be willing or open to the idea of ending this war without taking significant property from Ukraine?
Well, he's going to take something. I mean, they fought, and he has a lot of property. I mean, he's won certain property. If you say that, he's won certain property. We're the only nation that goes in and wins a war and then leaves, like we did under President Bush in the Middle East. We go in, we blast the hell out of everybody, destroy the place, and then we leave, Remember, I used to say, keep the oil. But I really didn't say, I said 2 things. I said, don't go in. But then they went in. And I said, well, don't go in, but if you're going to go in, keep the oil. But we didn't keep the oil.
Did you?
What do? We go in, we blast it to pieces, and then we leave, Doesn't make sense, never made sense.
So that's an interview just from 2 days ago. And it's getting less attention than the renovations on the White House ballroom? What kind of garbage news media do we have at the national level? And that's a rhetorical question. This clearly demonstrates what level of garbage media we have at the national level. And again, not everyone, but these people who are fixated on it. It's like, can you believe that he's doing this? Yeah, I can believe it. In fact, I can't hardly think of a story that's going through the headlines that I care less about than the renovations to the ballroom. And I'm supposed to be scared of this? I'm supposed to think, oh no, this is what dictators would do. This is what literally Hitler would do. What, renovate a ballroom? That's what you're worried about? At what point does anyone care about balancing the budget? I mean, we've got people that are losing their minds over expanding the ballroom. Oh, well, it might cost a lot of money. No, it's not going to cost any money. Oh, well, it's unprecedented. No, it's actually something that happens quite frequently. Oh, well, I guess I just hate him. Yeah, that's what it is. Now, this important story here, where Trump is talking about giving up concessions to Putin for peace. Not only does that sentence on its own just float out there and give you a little bit of information about what's on his mind, it also gives you an idea of where he's at on the business negotiating map. If you're not negotiating with someone, they're terrible, whatever, you create a pain point to get them to the table. The pain point was saying over the weekend, yeah, sure, we'll give out Tomahawk missiles if Ukraine's really going to need them and they want to obliterate Russia and Russia's not going to cooperate. Tomahawk missiles are on the table, so that gets Putin's attention. That creates a pain point that he can't have the U.S. handing off a few thousand Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine without severe negative consequences. So then after you draw him to the table, then you start saying nice things about him. Not nice things about the war, not nice things about the way he's running his country, but no, me and Putin have always gotten along well. Me and Putin have a great relationship. You make him not an adversary, you make him a friend that you're working with to what? Alleviate that pain point. To, hey, whatever it takes to not do the Tomahawk missiles. Tell you what, now we're in a position where Donald Trump, following his blueprint and Art of the Deal, or if you don't like him, the blueprint that businessmen read in How to Win Friends and Influence People by Carnegie, that old book, he's going through this blueprint. And so now he's brought him to the table. He's created a pain point, and he's also created a carrot to go along with the stick. What would you rather have? Would you rather have me hand off a few thousand missiles to Ukraine and you got to start dodging Tomahawks for the next couple of years? Or would you rather have this little slice of the Donetsk and the Donbass province? And I feel like that I don't know that we're going to get a ceasefire soon, but we very well could get a ceasefire soon between Ukraine and Russia. And that is a much bigger deal than the ballroom. Coming up next, what the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. It's your chance to win $5K a day on WBAP. Your chance at $1,000 right now. Pay off some bills. Just text GOLD to 95819. That's GOLD, GOLD to 95819, and you could score $1,000. Sponsored locally by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm. Good luck. What the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and this is something that we've all suspected, but now it's been confirmed.
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea. Bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, Governor Hot Wheels, and he is a hot-ass mess, honey. Queen of the liberal tea.
In an interview, she was asked about her future plans. You know, with the redistricting, some Democrats may be left out of the next midterm elections. They may be losing their seats. Some of them are scrambling for their next job. Some of them are looking for a promotion. And Jasmine is in the conversation to run in Texas for the Senate seat of John Cornyn. Now, she is saying in this sound bite that they're doing some internal polling, and if it comes back positive, she's going to run for Senate.
I have no idea where I'll run. These are my three options. Currently, we're waiting on the court to come down with a final opinion as to whether or not these lines will go into effect immediately or not. Our filing period is about to open, so they only have a little bit more time because you got to know where you're running. So we're expecting that we're going to get a court ruling here shortly on whether or not the lines go into effect for this election. So the lines may stay like they are, which means nothing changes about my district. They may change to what was signed into law. And that means that I would be moved into another district. And then the other option is every other day there's a poll that comes out that makes it clear that I can win the primary for the U.S. Senate race in Texas. And I am looking, because if you want to take my seat of 766,000 away, I feel like there has to be some karma in that, to where I take your seat that is for 30 million away. So we are, the primary is the primary. That's cool, but you got to win the general. So we are doing some testing here shortly to see if I can expand the electorate.
All right. See, now I paraphrased in 2 sentences what it took her 1 minute and 20 seconds to say. But it looks like if the internal polling that she's doing comes back and says she can win, what'd you say? Was that to me, Garrett? If it says she can win, she's going to run in the primary. Now, you got to think, well, why would she run in the primary? Even if she wins, there's no way she could win the general election in Texas to replace John Cornyn. And I wouldn't be that confident, because what if John Cornyn comes out of the primary? There's going to be a lot of Republicans out there who don't like him, who are going to sit on their hands and probably not vote for him, or may vote third party or whoever else. So I don't even think it's a done deal that she can't win the general. However, I don't think she's expecting to win the general election. For her, she's in a situation where, depending on if the redistricting maps hold, if she's going to have a hard time retaining her seat or may risk losing her seat here, she'd be dumb not to run for Senate, or at least the primary here in Texas. Now, I think the truth is going to be somewhere in between the two scenarios, where she's probably going to be facing someone a little more right-wing in the final. It's not going to be Cornyn. It'll probably be Paxton. Maybe there's a small avenue for Wesley Hunt. But on the other side of the aisle, who is she running against? Colin Allred? And you may think, well, why would she give up her seat in Congress? She's been in Congress for a while now, and this has been really good for her. This has catapulted her into a level of name recognition where no one knew who she was 3 years ago. We all know, talk radio listeners, not everyone in the country or in Texas, but you definitely know who Jasmine Crockett is now. And all the media interviews that she's done, that's the most important thing you could possibly do, because name recognition is everything in a primary. You don't have to have the right policies. You don't have to have the right background. You don't have to have your platform line up as closely as possible with the primary voters. Because the primary, and you have to assume it's going to be almost completely Democrats. Now we have open primaries here in Texas. So, independents and I guess Republicans could cross the line and vote in there. But really, that's not what happens. It's overwhelmingly Democrats that go to the polls. So they are going to vote for a Democrat, but the name that they recognize. And who on earth has a bigger name recognition or is more popular right now with Texas Democrats than Jasmine Crockett's? I say easily, that's nobody. Now, James, what good would it do if she does win the primary just to lose in the general election? Well, that campaign is going to get her even more news coverage, even more promotion that would cost hundreds of millions of dollars to buy. And losing that Senate seat is not the end of your career. Remember, Beto O'Rourke was a congressman from Texas up until 2019 when he decided to run for Senate. Or wait, was it governor first? I think it was just Senate. He keeps running for Senate here. And even though he lost in his race, what happened? Did his career diminish? Or was he catapulted to the national stage with all the promo he got, all the national attention he got? Because Team Blue salivates over the idea of taking one of these Senate seats from Texas and turning it blue. I mean, this is what they think about when they have that, special alone time. But if it can catapult Beto O'Rourke to run for president in 2020, and not just run for president, he was one of the finalists. He was up on the stage during the debates. Jasmine Crockett could get in that same position, and she would do a lot better than Beto O'Rourke did. She's a lot more likable than he is. She is a lot better at these interviews than he is. And let's all be a little bit honest with ourselves. When you're trying to appeal to the Team Blue Democrat voter, when your name's Robert Francis O'Rourke and you're a middle-aged, white, straight Christian male, that's not nearly as useful as Jasmine Crockett. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Look at all the boxes she checks. Coming up next on The James Show, Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt & Dunn is going to talk about some of the economic news that affects your money on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans, are you enjoying this part of the year that is sports nirvana? Baseball's in the World Series. Hockey and basketball are back. Football is in full swing. Well, James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. If you add a little bit of Prize Picks, you can have even more fun with the sports you're already enjoying. And I've already made my lineup for this weekend. Is this for the game tonight? So in the next one, I have our awesome new running back for Dallas, Javonte Williams. He's listed for 66.5 rushing yards. Now, all you got to do is pick more or less. I picked more on it because I'm expecting bigger things out of him. We're playing Denver this weekend. But you know what else I did? The Denver running back, he's going to be going against the Dallas defense. He's going to have a heck of a game. Who's the Denver running back? Doesn't care. I just picked more on him. His name's J.K. Dobbins. Never heard of him, but he's going against the Dallas defense. 67.5 rushing yards. I picked more than that. And I was like, you know what? I'll put him on there twice. Prize Picks lets you stack players so you can have them more than once in the same lineup. I also picked J.K. Dobbins on his 1.5 touchdowns. That's rushing or receiving touchdowns. I picked more on that one too. I'm expecting him to have a heck of a game. So that's all it takes. You make a lineup of 2 to 6 players. You can win up to 2,000 times your money. And if you're new to Prize Picks, take advantage of the promo code. Get $50 on me. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP, and you'll get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So before you go watch your next game, download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP. You get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. How's the economy doing? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Well, there's not a lot of headlines on it, so I've been kind of trained to assume that that's pretty good. But let's get a little deeper analysis than that. Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt and Dunn, and you can also hear her on the weekends here on WBAP, coming back on the James Show. Now, if you go try and look for good news on the markets, you'll find it. Stock markets are around all-time highs, had another great day today. But then you can see on the other side of the financial news that there's still concern over tariffs. You know, you had Target cutting 1,000 jobs. You had Facebook cutting a bunch of jobs. You see sort of the back and forth where the price of oil is low, but is it too low? It's so low it's going to hurt Texas. So out of the pile of financial headlines that you have to sift through, would you say you're a little more bullish or bearish on the economy right now, Kathy? So what changes are you expecting as far as healthcare costs? Oh, I can totally believe that. When we have a $2 trillion deficit, it's sort of expected in my book. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of margin, a whole lot of disposable income, you know, to adjust to that. What would you say to people like me who say, look, if things go up quite a bit, I mean, do you tell them to drop health insurance? Yeah, who can afford that? So let's talk about the catastrophic coverage. I didn't know that was still an option. I thought we had to get health insurance that covered everything these days. Yeah. Oh, so we're talking with Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt and Dunn. So what about people who are already retired? They're on Medicare. They probably have a supplemental plan to go with it. Are they expecting similar increases? I've heard you talk about those before. They're free. That is some clever marketing. The event's free, but it's going to cost you if you don't come. I like that a lot. Kathy DeWitt, you can hear her on WBAP on Sundays. She's on at 11 in the morning and then again at 4 in the afternoon. Thank you very much, Kathy DeWitt. All right, coming up next on the James Show, we have another touchy issue, and this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but it's going to be fun to talk about. Is there anything wrong with a 42-year-old man dating an 18-year-old woman? That's next on the James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. How old is too old to be dating? It's the James Show, News Talk 829.33 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And I don't mean there's like a cutoff age where you're not allowed to date anymore, but where you're not allowed to date 18-year-olds. Where it's kind of weird. And I've always understood that the weird cutoff, and again, I'm very open-minded about age gaps and relationships between adults. I understand that it is possible for a 42-year-old man and an 18-year-old woman to meet each other, be soulmates, fall in love, have a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, and live out the rest of their life beautifully. Happily ever after, as the Disney term goes. Or was that like an Aesop's fable thing? But usually it's weird. But usually that's not the case. Usually something is going on other than absolutely true love when you see an 18-year-old and a 42-year-old hook up. And look, if this is you, I'm not judging you. I don't know what your situation is. But the debate that's got me interested here, it comes from, have you ever seen the Whatever podcast? It's the viral videos have the backdrop that's up black and then it says @whatever in white just over and over and over in rows on that. Because that's where this comes from. And one of the guys on that show is Andrew Wilson. He's 42 years old, and he got in a discussion with another guy who was saying it is weird for a man his age to date much younger women. Now, I don't agree with Andrew Wilson on this, but he's making some good points that kind of make me rethink my position. And I'd like to hear what you think about this.
If you date an 18-year-old, what's the problem?
Date an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
At a different stage of life.
So?
What do you mean?
Why do you have to be at the same stage of life to date someone? That's stupid.
Because I think you should want to date someone who's on your level.
Yeah, but people fall in love, have massively dissimilar interests, different IQs, different everything, and absolutely love each other.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem with that?
I don't think there's a problem with it when you get a lot older, but I do think like men of your age dating women who are like in their late teens, even if it's legal, is weird.
Why is it weird? That's quite the argument.
Are you?
It's weird.
Hold on.
Weird.
Are you arguing that there is nothing problematic whatsoever at all with, how old are you? Like 50?
No.
Andrew.
I'm 41.
Nice.
41.
41. Mm-hmm. Do you think nothing wrong with you if you wanted to go by UC Santa Barbara right now and,
So what would be wrong with me dating an 18-year-old woman who wanted to date me? Why would that be problematic?
Strange.
Why? What's strange about it?
Because you are in different life experiences than she is. She is vastly...
Do you think 41-year-old women are going to be, like, let's say I wanted children. Don't you think I should date younger if I wanted to have a lot of children?
Date an 18-year-old to have children?
Well, you're going to be able to give me the most amount of children, right?
Okay.
Can you tell me what's wrong with that, Oliver?
Yes.
What?
Because you're taking advantage of someone.
Oh, taking advantage. Isn't it the case that if I'm 41, she's 18, the chances that our children are going to have more resources than if she had children with another 18-year-old, our children are likely going to have way more resources, right, Oliver?
I think having a differential like that is going to introduce
Can you answer the question, Oliver?
I don't know, Andrew.
You don't know?
No.
You don't know if the average 41-year-old it has children with 18-year-old, that 18-year-old is going to have more resources for their children than with the average 18-year-old, Oliver?
I think she's going to be traumatized as
Can you answer the question, Oliver? I'm not interested in like your emotional state.
You're also not interested in the emotional state of 18-year-olds if you want to date them. That's
answer the question.
Woo! So let's talk about this. Again, I'll say that it's possible that an 18-year-old and a 42-year-old could be soulmates and live happily ever after. I also try and put this like, let's get out of our own head and let's get out of our own context and recognize that a 42-year-old marrying an 18-year-old, if you read history books, kind of happens a lot more than you would expect. And there's also a couple of pop culture examples that I think would flesh out this conversation a little bit. Number one, let's use the example of one of the greatest Texans of all time, Anna Nicole Smith. And I mean that sarcastically. She's the pride of Mahia. But she got married to an 89-year-old billionaire when she was, I think she was 27. Now, you want to tell me that is true love and that's not a little bit weird? Let me use another example. Right now, Bill Belichick, he's 70-something, 72, I think. And his girlfriend is 26. She's in her mid to late 20s, and he's in his early 70s. Now, I'm not sure if these two are absolutely 100% positively in love and soulmates, but even to just be dating, I think we have to remind ourselves how different the male brain and the female brain are. And it's in a good way. Biology dictates this, but for good cause. What's the number one thing a guy is interested in when it comes to women? I mean, not just that, but her appearance, right? Her appearance. Is she young? What does her body look like? What does her face look like? What does her hair look like? What does her smile look like? Does she walk funny? Does she have a funky limp? You know, we are more concerned with the physical appearance, and then a quick second would be sort of personality under that too. Now, women look at men differently, because a lot of people think, well, how on earth could she sleep with that? Well, you got to remember, women's brains are a little deeper than men's brains are. They're not just interested in looks. They're interested in what? I know the first one's money. I got it. And it is money, but it's not, I mean, it's shallow, but it's not that shallow. You know what else Bill Belichick's girlfriend probably enjoys? The prestige of being Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Women hold that in higher regard than men do. So when she goes into a room with Bill Belichick, and there's other alpha males in the room, there's other guys who are millionaires or billionaires or politicians or famous people or celebrities or business owners and CEOs, and there's other, not whatever the age group is. If Bill Belichick goes into a room full of top-notch, elite, high-value alpha males, he's still the alpha male in the room. All those guys will look at Bill Belichick and go, holy crap, check that out, that's Bill Belichick. Oh, I've been dying to meet him. That's what women think is cool. Now, let's take these two extreme examples here, and let's kind of distill it down and kind of shrink it up. And let's talk about the 42-year-old dating the 18-year-old. If that's my 18-year-old daughter, would I be okay with that? I don't know. Depends on the 42-year-old male. If he's like a super exceptional 42-year-old male and he started his own business and he's worth millions of dollars and he's like a hardcore Christian that's still a virgin and, you know, just hasn't been through the slop like so many of us have. If he was like an exceptional dude, yeah, I could be won over. Conversely, if my 42-year-old son is dating and says, Dad, I think I want to marry this 18-year-old girl, I'd be like, are you sure? However, if I met the girl and she's exceptional and she's very mature for her age and she has a very good background, she gets good grades, she has a head on her shoulders, she has life's ambitions, she's fun to talk to, she's very well-spoken and adult, I could see myself being okay with that. However, here's the rule I'm going to go with, and I'm asking your opinion on this. I thought this was the rule. You take half of your age plus 7. And if it's less than that, it's weird. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We'll continue on the age gap debate next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Do you have a problem with a 42-year-old man dating an 18-year-old woman? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. We're going to leave it at this because there's a whole nother complicated scenario that you could imagine that would really just throw a monkey wrench into the gears here. If you reverse the genders here, is there a problem with a 42-year-old woman dating an 18-year-old man? Different story. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this one. And this comes up because, this is a discussion that comes up every time you see like Bill Belichick's dating a 26-year-old, or Al Pacino had a baby a couple of years ago when he was 83. He's like 85 now with a toddler. And that seems a little weird. However, I don't know. I try and be as open-minded as possible, give people the benefit of the doubt. And I guess there could be a scenario where a 42-year-old man dating an 18-year-old woman could result in a happy, healthy, lifelong relationship where they get married and have kids and never get divorced and live happily ever after, just like God intended. I think for most of them, though, something weird's going on. It's probably a sex thing or an insecurity thing, or the girl has daddy issues. And I really like I don't know if this is universal. I thought we'd all agreed on this. The cutoff for your dating age difference is you take the guy's age, you divide it in half, and you add 7. So for the scenario that I was giving you from Andrew from the Whatever podcast, he's 42 years old. Take his age, cut it in half, 21, add 7, 28. Anyone under 28, that's weird. Again, it might work out. You guys really might be soulmates. This might be true love, but it's weird. 800-288-9227. Let's start with, hey, ladies. A lot of ladies over here. Sharon and Quinlan, you're on WBAP.
Hi.
Go ahead, Sharon.
I'm here.
Your
Are
thoughts?
you there?
Yeah, your thoughts on a 42-year-old dating an 18-year-old.
Well, my son's 42 and my daughter-in-law's 50.
Well, that's fine. How long have they been together?
They've been married 8 years, been together 11 years.
All right, so this is well into adulthood. Part of the sting of this question is the fact that it's an 18-year-old. If you took this same age gap, which is 24 years between 18 and 42, and you scooted it up and it was like a 30-year-old and a 54-year-old, I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. So,
it's just like with my husband and I'm 61 and my husband's 60. He used to call me his cougar. Now I'm his Def Leopard.
Def Leppard. See what you did there? Because it's a cougar. Thank you very much, Sharon and Quinlan. Elizabeth and Electra, you're on WBAP. What do you think about this?
Hey, you're not going to like me very much on this issue. For me, I think that if you were in high school, and I'm not saying like the same high school, I'm saying the years. If you were in the same high school years as the person, it's a no-go. So between 4 and 5 years, with an exception, it doesn't mean that there should be an exception like should be okay. I'm saying it should not be okay. That if you meet the person and they're younger than 18 and you're older than 18, like especially a few years, I would say no. But
yeah, we're not talking about underage people here. But look, a 5-year age gap is your max. So you would think it's weird if a 34-year-old woman was dating a 40-year-old man?
Well, no, that's not weird. But like maybe a little bit more. It's like me personally, 4 or 5 years max. And for me, it's just because like what you brought up is like the IQ or the just the frame of mind, the maturity level.
Okay, a lot of us remember you from previous calls. What about the foreigner that converted you to Islam? What was your and you married him? What was your age difference?
Yeah, well, he lied to me about everything, including his age. So I have no idea how old he was. He told me he was
someone's scorned, aren't they? All right, good to hear from you, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Man, you got some tight rules. I don't know if I can live by that. Actually, me and Miss Parker are 4 years apart, so we actually fit under the Elizabethan rule there. Thank you very much. This is Lee and Wiley. You're on WBAP. Hey, Lee.
Hey, how you doing? Great show. Love it.
Thanks.
my parents were 16 years apart. My dad was 36 and my mom was 19 when they got married in 1961.
Ooh,
And
hang on. Your dad was 36 and she was
36.
19. This is great. So can I be nosy here? How does a 36? How does a 36-year-old befriend a 19-year-old? Because I imagine they didn't get married on the first day. So did a 35-year-old meet an 18-year-old, or did a 34-year-old meet a 17-year-old?
18.
She was 18 and he was 35.
He was 18.
How did
Yep,
they
and
meet?
He was a car salesman at a dealership in Michigan, and she came in with my grandmother to buy a new car, and they started talking, and one thing led to another.
Oh man, I don't know. Are you over 35, Lee?
Oh, I'm 62.
Okay, 35 years old. Like an 18-year-old wasn't even on the menu when I was 35. I felt like that was kind of gross.
I don't know. It's they put up with a lot of speculation, and a lot of people didn't believe they were really in love. But 55 years later, it worked. It's really weird.
Well, that's the wholesome story I'm hoping happens with all these relationships. But I noticed a couple of weird evolutions I had. When you're a young boy, when you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18-year-old girls are the hottest thing in the world. And then the second you get out of high school, all high school girls and down, they're all just gross. Even if they're 4 months younger than you, they're all just gross. And then the same thing happened when I got out of college. When I got out of ETBU and I first moved up here, I actually dated a girl for like a month that was going to SMU, and I felt like I was dating a child. So the other evolution that happened is when you have kids and you see like a beautiful woman and then you realize, oh, she's closer in age to my child than me. That's like a no-go zone too. And so, my oldest kid is like 15 now. So anyone under like 29 or something, they're closer in age to him than me. And that kind of ruins the fun for me too. I'm not even sure if I was single right now. God forbid something happened to Miss Parker. But if I was single I don't think I could date anyone under 30.
Yeah. When my grandfather, started to ask my father, like, what are your intentions and all this, there was a whole hoopla. But apparently he saw something and she saw something in him and it worked out. And I don't know. There you go. There's your wholesome story for the day.
That's fantastic. All right. That's what I needed to hear. Thank you very much, Lee. See, they could be true love. Maybe Anna Nicole Smith really was in love with the billionaire, the 89-year-old billionaire when she was 27. You don't know. 800-288-9227. I guess we're going to have some more weird stories about age gaps coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, Texas homeowners, listen to me here. If you're thinking about painting your house, I'm going to stop you from making a huge mistake. Don't. Look into Rhino Shield. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. I'm not saying go there and spend a couple grand and get your house coated. All I'm saying is go there, schedule an appointment to have Gary come out, give you a quote, explain how the technology works, and then you're actually fully informed enough to know whether or not you should go with Rhino Shield. Because you don't know how this works. It's actually not a paint. It's like a two-part process. There's a primer, and then there's a ceramic coating, like the space shuttle technology. But then there's also other things that you learn what Rhino Shield does. They do a lot of prep work on your house. They make sure to seal everything perfectly before it goes on. If you have some small repairs that need to be made, Rhino Shield will do that for you at cost. In fact, they prefer to do it so they know it's done right and it'll be done quick and we don't have to worry about anyone else's shoddy handiwork or whatever. And so there's no excuses to not go in. But here's the real kicker. If you're worried about the cost, Rhino Shield can finance it for you. The paint guys don't. Rhino Shield does. That's what a great product it is. 25-year transferable warranty, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, 5 stars on Google. It blocks UV rays, water resistant, doesn't crack, flake, or peel. So all I'm asking is give them a call, go to their website, and schedule a time for them to come out, check out your house, and show them what they can do for you. And that doesn't cost anything. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Hey, now's your chance to win part of $5K a day on WBAP. Your chance at $1,000 right now. Pay off some bills. Just text HAPPY to 95819. That's HAPPY to 95819. And you could score $1,000. Sponsored locally by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm. Good luck. Is there such thing as an unacceptable age gap for dating adults? This was brought on by a discussion that was had on the Whatever podcast. This is Andrew Wilson debating his guest. He's 42. Is it weird if he dates an 18-year-old?
If you date an 18-year-old, what's the problem?
Date an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
At a different stage of life.
So?
What do you mean?
Why do you have to be at the same stage of life to date someone? That's stupid.
Because I think you should want to date someone who's on your level.
Yeah, but people fall in love, have massively dissimilar interests, different IQs, different everything, and absolutely love each other.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem with that?
I don't think there's a problem with it when you get a lot older, but I do think like men of your age dating women who are like in their late teens, even if it's legal, is weird.
Why is it weird? That's quite the argument. It's weird.
Hold on.
Weird.
Are you arguing that there is nothing problematic whatsoever at all with, how old are you, like 50?
No.
Andrew.
I'm 41.
Nice.
41.
41.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think nothing wrong with you if you wanted to go by UC Santa Barbara right now and,
So what would be wrong with me dating an 18-year-old woman who wanted to date me? Why would that be problematic?
Strange.
Why? What's strange about it?
Because you are in different life experiences than she is. She is vastly...
Do you think 41-year-old women are going to be, like, let's say I wanted children. Don't you think I should date younger if I wanted to have a lot of children?
Date an 18-year-old to have children?
Well, you're going to be able to give me the most amount of children, right?
Okay.
Can you tell me what's wrong with that, Oliver?
Yes.
What?
Because you're taking advantage of someone.
Oh, taking advantage. Isn't it the case that if I'm 41, she's 18, the chances that our children are going to have more resources than if she had children with another 18-year-old, our children are likely going to have way more resources, right, Oliver?
I think having a differential like that is going to introduce
Can you answer the question, Oliver?
I don't know, Andrew.
You don't know?
No.
You don't know if the average 41-year-old has children with 18-year-old, that 18-year-old's going to have more resources for their children than with the average 18-year-old, Oliver?
I think she's going to be traumatized as
Can you answer the question, Oliver? I'm not interested in like your emotional state.
You're also not interested in the emotional state of 18-year-olds if you want to date them. That's
answer the question.
All right, boys. Now, listen, I think it's weird. I guess it could be true love. I guess it could work out and be what's best for them, and if they have children, for them as well. And he's right in the fact that a 42-year-old would probably be in a better position to provide resources for a successful family to an 18-year-old girl than one of her 18-year-old male peers. But my rule, and this isn't, I didn't make this up, it's just the rule that I thought was universal. You take half your age, you add 7. If it's less than that, it's weird. So for a 42-year-old, half his age, 21, add 7, 28. If you date anyone under 28, that's weird. Is it wrong? I don't think it's morally wrong. It's just weird. Dwayne in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP.
How are you?
Fantastic, Dwayne. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a morality issue. I don't know that I would date that young, but it's a morality versus legality. And to throw a big wrench in this, in Texas, 17 is the age of consent, which is extremely weird. But 18 is legal. If you don't want 18-year-olds to be legal to date somebody who's in their 40s, then write your congressman. Make the law change.
So you think it's legal. Do you think it's moral?
I think it depends on the person. I mean,
so
I don't
possibly,
think you can make a
right?
Statement on that.
So that's it. Well, no, but that's a yes. You think there could be a situation in which this is okay. So you're not excluding. So it's not inherently immoral. So it could be a moral situation. What's the youngest you've dated?
Absolutely, I think it could be. Youngest I've dated was 12 years younger than me, and I've been married to her now for 13 years.
I knew you had to have that strong opinion coming from somewhere. Now, how old were you when y'all met?
I was 33.
And she was 21?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't think that's weird. I think for Miss Parker, her parents are 12 years apart.
Hi, Miss Parker.
But I think it's actually creepy for them, but that's just because I don't like my father-in-law. That's all. All right. Thank you very much. Kevin in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP. What do you think?
I think it's absolutely fine as long as they're 20 and above. 18, fresh out of high school, is still too young to make decisions kind of for themselves. They're not legal to like drink and stuff after 21. Maybe they can just date, and marry whoever they want, because in the end, marriage is temporary anyway. Because look at Tarrant County, their courthouse is plumb full of divorces. So who's to say any relationship is real? You know, so if they want to have some fun and play around with an old man that has a lot of money, why not?
Kevin, you're the ultimate skeptic. You're divorced?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear it. I think we all heard it. I think Kim heard it in the next room even. What was your age gap?
My age gap, she was a year older than I.
See, now look, it's been explained to me by other divorced guys, and you sound like you're about my age. Part of the problem that a lot of guys get when they get to be our age and they dump the first wife, you know, the old first wives club, is that the first wife knew them when they were young and when they were dumb and they weren't as accomplished, and she still treats you like that young, dumb idiot. However, if you trade off and go younger, this is a girl who sees you as the successful, accomplished, respectable person that you've become, and that's all she knows of you. So you probably get treated better when you ditch the first one and go to the second one. And so, and I know that sounds shallow, but it's less shallow than, well, he wants to date the younger girl because she's hotter. Like it's almost like an opposite of shallow. There's almost, I don't know, I don't want to say deep, but a little more complicated reasoning behind just that the younger girl's hotter. There's also the respect issue. There's also, you know, how you interact with each other. And, you know, for people who do have a big age gap, there's a little bit of fun to be had with that. She can tease him about being an old man. He can tease her about not knowing who Gabe Kaplan is, and we all have a good time.
Absolutely. 21 and above, younger than that, that's off limits, I think, for anyone older. If she's older than 21, fine, go for it. If she wants to make that choice, that's hers to make.
What's the youngest you've dated since the divorce?
Recently, I dated an older one. She was about 4 years older than me. So
you are not learning your lesson, Kevin. All right. Got to run. Thank you very much for sharing your story. 800-288-9227 if you want to jump in. I want to end the show. Next, we have just some funny stuff. You know, I love to throw in the viral videos to end the show. So I'm going to try and make you laugh next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. On your home for Mark Lee Van Camp and Robbins, now on WBAP. It's a great show where they cycle through a whole lot of stories. They don't take a lot of calls, but they cycle through a lot of stories, and they have a lot of fun doing it. And it sounds a lot like the James Show. So if you like the last 3 hours you've heard here, you'll probably like them. So check them out tomorrow, 11 to 2, only on WBAP. Nate Bargatze, one of the top comedians of 2025, has something that hit close to home for a lot of people. Now, I myself am a bit of a techie, but a lot of people in my orbit are not, and I think they can relate to this.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know technology. I don't know what AI is. I don't think you get to know what AI is and also see a donkey jump off a high dive. I think it was one or the other, and I saw the donkey, so I'm out. If I send an email and it says the file is too big, I don't know what to do. My best guess is I try to resend it. That's what I try to do. You know how dumb that is? The computer's like, no, and I go, what about now, though?
Yeah, that doesn't work with computers. And sometimes, how come that works with cars, though? Why is it you can try and turn your car on and it'll be like, roo, 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 and you just stop and you wait a second and you try it again. And that time it works. Cars have messed with our heads because cars, they are machines. They're not living, breathing things. They're not organic. They are a yes or no. They are a binary. Yet sometimes they seem to act like animals. They seem to have emotions. They seem to have an attitude sometimes. But computers are just cold-blooded. What about now, though? Yeah, I can totally relate to that. Another piece of audio that I think you'd get a good kick out of. We have the guy over here, not a big fan of the Greyhound bus system. This is James McCann.
I've seen it. I've enjoyed the beautiful underclass of America. I got on the Greyhound bus. It's the worst place in the world. It's the Greyhound bus terminal is the worst place in the world. There are children in Gaza right now going, well, we're not in a Greyhound bus terminal. So there's holes in the walls. People are spitting on the ground. There's on the walls. Young Sheldon is playing at full volume on a television. I don't know why that was the most upsetting part of the whole thing. The restrooms were labeled ladies and gentlemen, which was hugely inaccurate. Scoundrels and whores would have been close to the mark, I do believe.
Scoundrels and whores. Have you ever actually ridden a Greyhound bus? Raise your hand if you've actually bought a ticket, got on a Greyhound bus, and went on a long trip. Because I only did it once in my life, and there's a reason I only did it once in my life. I will never ever do that again. The roommate I mentioned earlier that we were splitting a house, that his dad went to the Unitarian church. He got married in Atlanta. He met some girl from Atlanta, and they had to have the wedding in Gwinnett County. And I'm from here. I don't know anything that happens east of the Sabine, really. Louisiana's as far as I've been. And I was like, all right, I can't afford the trip. I definitely can't afford to fly. If I wanted to drive, it would actually cost me more money than if I took a Greyhound bus. And this is me. I'm like 21. I'm as poor as you can possibly be. So I took the Greyhound bus. I did not realize that thing stops like every 45 minutes. Oh my God. It took a trip that would probably be maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 hours in a car, and it made it a whole day affair. And you don't stop at cool places at cool times. You know, you don't get to stop at the Bishop Arts District at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night. You're stopping at Meridian, Mississippi's Greyhound bus station at 3 a.m. And you got to get off the bus so they can add more people to the bus. And some people have to get off and they got to put their luggage on. And so you're just chilling in a Greyhound bus station in Meridian, Mississippi at 3 a.m. on I don't know if it's Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and I don't care. But it is a level of depth of humanity that I think is right. I mean, just one rung on the ladder above being in your county jail. It was God awful. And, people talk about, it stinks or it's crowded or it's all that. It's worse than you think. Instead of taking the Greyhound bus, I would recommend hitchhiking to Atlanta, because then I had to take the damn thing back too. All right, that's going to about do it for the James Show today. Brian Adams brings his Roll with the Punches tour to the American Airlines Center on November 13th. Special guests, Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Get tickets and information now at livenation.com, or you can listen to the WBAP Morning Show tomorrow morning for your chance to win tickets. I don't know when, so just listen to the whole thing, okay? In the meantime, in the next 21 hours, if you need more James Show action, that's what the podcast is for. Go find the James Show podcast and stick around, because coming up next, the great one, Mark Levin on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.